USA fans seeing their World Cup dreams slip away there at a watch party in Kansas City. The U.S. was knocked out of the tournament after a 4-1 loss to Belgium. That is despite having their star forward, Folarin Balogun. His red card suspension was controversially lifted by FIFA at the U.S. president's request. Steve Futterman is in Seattle with the details.
Well, you know, there was plenty of controversy off the pitch, but last night on the pitch, no controversy at all. Belgium was much better than the U.S., a dominating performance, really almost from start to finish. Belgium jumped out to a 1-0 lead in the 9th minute. Charles de Ketelaere, the first of 2 goals by him. The one highlight for the American team came in the 31st minute. Malik Tillman, his second free kick in consecutive games going into the net. For a brief moment, the Americans had tied the match at 1-1. The fans were going crazy inside. They said, yes, the Americans maybe can do it. But just 2 minutes later, de Ketelaere again, his second goal, made it 2-1. In the second half, a misplay by the U.S. goaltender, Matt Freese, made it 3-1. And then in stoppage time at the very end, one more goal to make the final score 4-1. It was not much of a contest. Now, as you mentioned, Flo Balogun, the controversial, well, he's not controversial himself, but he was put in that controversial situation. He had one key shot on goal that was stopped by the Belgian goaltender. A very moving moment, though, at the end of the match. Balogun went up to Rudy Garcia, who's the coach of the Belgium team, and they really talked very kindly. Garcia told us afterwards that he told Balogun it's not his fault. He shouldn't feel bad about the situation, but it is a controversial decision by FIFA to allow him to play again, and it's going to have ramifications. Many people feel there are calls already for the head of FIFA to resign. We'll see if those continue, but this has really bothered lots of people in the world of soccer, not just in North America, but around the world.
That was Steve Futterman, and we are joined now by James Sharman to break down the result. He's a soccer analyst, sports journalist, and broadcaster. Good morning, James. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. Yeah. Interesting match last night.
It was a very interesting match. Well, let's start with, Folarin Balogun. He got his red card ban lifted after Donald Trump intervened, only for Trump to then admit he didn't even know what a red card was. And for the U.S. to get beat 4-1 anyway, do you think all of this off-field controversy was a distraction for the team?
I don't see how it couldn't be. Players say they avoid the news, they avoid their social media streams. They don't. They can't avoid this kind of news. It was too much noise. You have to feel a lot of sympathy, I think, for these players. It's funny, you know, the US is by far Canada's greatest sporting rival, especially in soccer. But you have sympathy on this one occasion, this fleeting occasion for these players. They did not need this. This is not their fault. They were prepared to accept that punishment for Flo Balogun. They may not have liked the red card. It was harsh. It was soft, perhaps. But that's football. They would have dealt with that and would have moved on. Instead, they're preparing for a match that he may or may not play in. And not to mention just the embarrassment of the whole situation. Once again, Donald Trump gets involved and causes more problems than solutions for this team and this country, quite honestly. So, yeah, there's no doubt it weighed heavily on these players' minds. I think they would have lost regardless. Belgium's a much better team than the States. We saw that before the World Cup. They met in a friendly. They lost 5-2. But it couldn't have helped for sure.
Well, the ban change and how it was handled has been widely condemned. Do you think this sets a precedent for political figures influencing tournament rules moving forward?
Well, I mean, in the past, there are precedents, you know. I mean, just a month ago, Nepal was suspended by FIFA for government interference. This is something that FIFA frown upon, to say the very least, have done for a long, long time. So for this to happen now during a World Cup, generally speaking, if it wasn't the States and it wasn't, you know, Gianni Infantino's relationship with Donald Trump, there would be, I'm sure, sanctions in place. So it'll be fascinating to see what happens now. I know there's lots of talk there about Infantino's future as FIFA president. You know, as much as he's controversial, he's got a lot of support, a lot of allies. So I'd be surprised if it goes that far. But the bottom line is this cannot happen during the World Cup, even though FIFA say, listen, we have an independent commission that determined the result here. It had nothing to do with Donald Trump's phone call, so to speak, but Trump says otherwise. Mm-hmm.
Well, James, Spain knocked out Portugal 1-0 with Portugal eliminated. Cristiano Ronaldo says it was his last World Cup. Is this the last we'll see of him?
That's a really good question. I wonder if he sticks around for another European Championship. That's in 2 years' time with Portugal. I suspect with a new coach coming in, because Roberto Martinez resigned immediately post World Cup. He said, I'm out, I'm done. So the new man coming in has to look at that team and has to realize what is obvious to everyone, that Ronaldo, as much of a legend as he is, it's time to move on. You can't build a team around this guy anymore. So if that's the case, I can see Ronaldo stepping aside now from international football. He'll still play for his club in Saudi Arabia or wherever he ends up playing, but probably Saudi Arabia because they pay him so much money for a couple more years. But quite honestly, that league, out of sight, out of mind. So it might well be the last we see of him as a footballer or a relevant footballer, but the brand Ronaldo is going nowhere.
For sure. Let's talk now about Argentina, because Argentina barely escaped a historic upset. And next up is today's round of 16 match against Egypt. So what does Argentina need to do to avoid another close call?
Yeah, listen, Egypt's an interesting team. They entered the World Cup as not even a dark horse. They're a team that could do some damage. They've got some star players. Mohamed Salah is the one that stands out, an absolute legend, but also a player in his mid-30s, past his very best. So can they cause a problem for Argentina? If they've seen anything from this World Cup, they know that smaller teams can cause issues for bigger teams. They were almost caught out themselves in the last round. I don't see that happening this time around. These are the world champions. They've done it before. They're a tournament team. Messi is not the Messi perhaps of 5 years ago, but he's still one of the great players in world football. I don't see this time around being a hiccup. I see Argentina rolling over Egypt, but I've been proven wrong in this World Cup before. Most people have. It's a strange old tournament. It's been a great tournament, so it's definitely one to watch. It should be a very, very compelling match.
And tonight is the last game in Canada, being played in Vancouver, featuring Colombia versus Switzerland. What are you watching for there?
You know what? I was out there for the last couple of weeks. It was just fantastic. I was there for the Swiss game against Canada, and they played 3 games now back-to-back, including today, Switzerland. They've become mini Canada there, it seems. That city has embraced this World Cup. It's been bustling. It's been a fantastic celebration. The Swiss team are a good team. Colombia's a sexy team. They're fun to watch. They have that South American panache. They can play dirty when they have to. They could go a long way in this tournament. They are going a long way in this tournament. So I think you might see Switzerland's run come to an end today. But again, another compelling match, a tight match, and with some real star power. Luis Diaz for Colombia is the one to watch. Plays at Bayern Munich. He's been just dominating this World Cup so far. One of the players of the tournament thus far, and a lot of fun. So keep your eye on him and watch for a Colombia win.
Well, James, have a great time watching that game tonight, as I'm sure a lot of people around the world will be. And thank you for your time this morning. That's soccer analyst James Sharman.